Welcome to another episode of Cowboys and Indian, the footballing show. I'm your host, Tony, and before I introduce the pundits, please hit like and subscribe. We've been going for just under a month, and we've actually got 100 subscribers now. So thank you very much to all those who've subscribed, and those who haven't done so yet, please hit the like button and subscribe. I'll introduce the two pundits, the singing cowboy, Duggy.
Purple eyes in Virginia, that's where I want to be. Just my three close companions, just Tony, Stewie, and me. Now work out what Western that come from.
I will like
it. If anybody knows, please put it in the
wagon, was it?
No, that was Lee Marvin, Clint Eastwood.
Alexa, play Spirit of the Blues.
Was it Brokeback Mountain, Dougie?
No, that's the last time I had a semi though. When I watched Brokeback Mountain.
Right. And
quite worrying, really.
Moving on, we got Stuart, the Hammer Valentine. How you doing, Stu?
All good, my man. All good.
Awesome. And today we've got a great guest, Tommy, the Evertonian. Tommy, how you doing? Thank you for joining.
I'm doing fine. Can you hear the background music there?
I can hear something.
Alexa, higher. Come on, get down to Goodison Park.
Not for long, not for much longer, Tommy.
Not for much longer. Got to rewrite.
Just going to go
song.
and strangle the dog, guys.
All right, yeah. Stuck making some challenges with his pipes, just to let you know, Tommy. We'll be back. Oh, here he goes. A quick one. It is in the pool this time.
Kitchen sink this time.
They're making it to the toilet. Anyway,
I did it the other day. I walked outstairs. You know when you match the days on and you don't want to miss a game, do you? So I just went out. I thought I'll piss in the sink. And when I got there, all the fucking washing up was there. She hadn't done it. Anyway, I thought, fuck it. She's still in bed. I'll still do it. So I've done it anyway on the washing up.
You were in the neighbour's house.
You did say ours, didn't you?
So just to jump straight into this, I'm going to try and keep this on football all day, but let's see for the rest of the time. But let's see how we get on. But Tommy, why Everton?
Well, you don't pick Everton. You're chosen. You don't choose. You know, that's how it is. You're just an Evertonian from birth. You just have an affinity with the club, and you hate everything red.
There you go. I think that sums
exactly
it up.
Like, exactly like West Ham, isn't it? You don't choose West Ham. You are West Ham from birth.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't choose West Ham because we won cups and top of the league. It's just rite of passage. So I suppose, and I know Tommy, Everton have won more than West Ham, but we get that. And then, if you think back to your earliest memories, what was one of your early games that you went to?
Oh, there's been so the first game I remember going to see was that sticks in my mind, and it's because there's so many, you know, you don't stick out. But one of them, I watched it from the Bullens Road, and it was actually a defeat. It was when Fulham beat Everton in the cup, and it was the year that Fulham got through to the final in the FA Cup. And I watched that from the Bullens Road. But that's one game that sticks in my head because it was a big shock at the time. You know, Fulham from the lower league knocking Everton out the cup at Goodison Park. And it's one of the games that just sticks in my head. I don't know why. Maybe it was such a disappointment.
What year was that, Tommy? How far back are we going?
It was in the 70s, wasn't it? It was in the 70s. I don't know for certain, but it was a long time ago.
What about you, Doug? Do you remember what was your earliest Everton game that you'd seen televised or even been to with most likely
I told you before, didn't I? It wasn't so much the televised because you remember up until really the inception of Sky, we had to rely on Match of the Day, didn't we, or listen on the radio, or the big match. So you didn't really see a lot of games, but your dad used to do his pools on a Saturday, you know, when Grandstand come on about 20 to 5 and the teleprinter would come on. You would look at the names who scored. You had a good striker called Joe Royal, didn't you? And Alan Paul was up there. So when you was a kid and you played football, I always said if you were two teams and you was Everton, you'd pick different people who was yours. But it was more the 80s for me. That, I thought Everton had a fantastic side.
I was too young, really. Colin Harvey, Kendall, Alan Ball. I was too young, really, to take all that in, how good they were. But as I watched from the Gladys Street, like one of my favourites was Duncan McKenzie.
Great player.
He was absolutely brilliant, but he was in a team with so many good players. We had Martin Dobson, Dave Thomas on the wing, Ronnie Goodless, and, of course, Bob Latchford scoring the goals. So I think Duncan McKenzie at the time was my favourite player. But then as the years go on, you get more and more favourite players, don't you? You know, as we got more and more successful, you had Peter Reid, Paul Bracewell, Gary Stevens, Trevor Stevens, Neville Southall. I mean, you can't pick one favourite out of all them. But in my younger days, it was Duncan McKenzie, and in the later days, Duncan Ferguson.
Big Duncan.
Tommy, do you remember a game? We had an up-and-coming goalkeeper at West Ham called Mervyn Day. He was a real good goalie, but against Everton on one game, he stood outside the area and Ronnie Goodlass chipped him from just inside the halfway line. Do you remember it? And it ruined his confidence. And all the West Ham fans afterwards, when he used to go out and take these positions up, the West Ham fans used to sing, Mervyn, Mervyn on your line, Mervyn. And it absolutely sort of destroyed his career at West Ham after that. Yeah, Ronnie Goodlass chipped him from way out. Yeah, long way out.
But he was a great goalkeeper named Mervyn Day. I remember him playing at Goodison. He made save after save.
Really they all did in them days. You got about Southall. Neville Southall was probably one of the greatest keepers to have ever lived.
Without doubt, he was the world's #1 at his best, without doubt. I mean, when we were fighting for the league, we went play Tottenham away and he made an unbelievable save from, I think it was Falco, from a corner. It was a point-blank header and he saved it and put it over the bar. It was unbelievable. So
he always looked dirty, didn't he, Tommy? He never looked clean, did he? He'd come out and he'd look like he'd just been working down the allotment. He was never a keeper that looked clean, Southall. He always looked dirty, didn't he, when he played?
Yeah. Because he never mixed really with the players either. He never went out drinking with them or nothing like that. I remember we played in the cup final and we won the cup. And we were coming home in the minibus on the way back, and we passed this big limousine on the motorway. And we thought, I wonder who's in there. And we found out later it was Southall coming home. He never stayed in London for the celebrations. He got back up to Wales. But it was such a dedication. I remember seeing a documentary on him where he used to cycle in the hills up in Wales, and he'd take the seat off the bike, so he couldn't sit down, and he had to stand up to build up his leg muscles.
Ooh.
Yeah, great goalie. Do you actually think, Tommy, that the goalkeepers of the yesteryear, the 60s, 70s, 80s, even 90s, I don't think the goalkeepers of this era, they're so used to playing as sweepers and going out and collecting the ball. I don't think they make as good as saves as they did years ago. I don't.
Any save that stops a ball going in the back of the net is a good save.
Yeah.
And I know what you're saying in terms. I think the goalkeepers are very protected compared to yesteryear. You know, if you look at the goal Andy Gray scored against Watford in the cup final, when he put the ball in the back of the net with the keeper, and that would be disallowed now. That was
against Watford, weren't it? That was Watford, wasn't it?
Yeah, Watford.
Yeah, Graham Taylor's team, Elton John owned it at the time, didn't he?
Right, yeah. And that's why they call it the Blues. They all sang to Elton John.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been a goal now, would it? He would have got. Do you remember the Man City player, Bert Troutman? He got taken out early, and he played with a broken neck the rest of the game.
How old do you think I am?
Tommy, you're as old as me, son. Me and you are the same age. I thought you might have been the Sponge Man, Tommy.
He played it when it was black and white.
We always had a black and white telly. We never had. I can't say how we come by a colour TV, but we come by one. It literally did fall off the back of a lorry. So we didn't have a colour telly for ages and ages. We used to have an old slot telly. You had to stick 10 bobbins
in the back.
Yeah.
Well, we could fiddle that and get the money out.
Yeah.
Get the money back in.
Yeah.
But
Just like your
meters,
electric meters were the same as well.
That's right, yeah. We used to ask me our fella could we have a colour telly? He said, "You've got one. It's black. It's white. How many colours do you need?"
There you go. There you go. Now we used to, for us West Ham fans, when we used to play against Everton, I thought it was a bit of a bogey team. We were never that good against them. We most of the time got turned over, based on my experience and my era, which I can remember.
It's always been like that.
Yeah. Even when
I did tell you the other day, we've lost more times in the Premier League than any other team. I think you're after us, Tommy.
We've been in the Premier League longer than you.
Yeah.
You've been in the top flight longer. I think you've been in the top flight 122 years.
Yeah, we've never been out of it.
No.
Never been
relegated.
relegated.
122 years.
Yeah.
24 trophies you've won. Well, I think we've won about 5 if you count the last one, 4.5 then.
Yeah. But Everton's a massive club. You know, you've got up north, you got Man United, Man City, Tranmere, Everton. They're the 4 big clubs.
Yeah, you hear that? Did you hear that? I agree with you, Tommy. There's another one, but I don't think they're as big as you guys, though. There's another one.
Atkinson Stanley.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the one.
That's it. I can't think of any others.
No.
And they mixed your ground, Tommy. You were the first ones to play at Anfield, weren't you?
Well, yeah. Everton now have built three stadiums in the city of Liverpool. We've built Anfield, we built Goodison, and now we've built Bramley-Moore. So we built this city. This is what Everton's done.
Yeah.
Tommy, why was it the Z-Cars music?
I don't know. Do you know what? I don't really know where that came from. Why it's such affiliated with Everton. I know there was a show in back in the 60s, 70s, Z-Cars, and it was based. I think it was based in Huyton, and I think it was just something that it got played at Everton once, and they really liked it, so they kept it. But I don't really know why Z-Cars came to be the tune that we run out to. I mean, it's the same with the other lot when they sing that song. I mean, that was in a musical. Where did that come from?
Like us. Our song's almost from a musical as well, isn't it, Duggy?
Yeah, they don't know where it really came from. At first, they said it was from music, but they said there was a player, didn't they, called Charlie Bubbles, and then they said there was a soap advert. No one's really got to the bottom of why they've put it on.
I mean, the song's older than the club. It's older than West Ham, the song.
Yeah.
It's been about a long, long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
we come up to Z-Cars, and we have the sirens now when the teams run out, like the air raid sirens, which must be really intimidating for teams coming out when they hear that for the first time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't know, I read up as well before this show. I had to do a little bit of research on Everton, and I just got to the stadium part, and I didn't know about, you're right, Tommy, that the first team to play at Anfield was Everton, and you built the stadium. Yeah. And there was a dispute with the landowner and so on, and then eventually
over the rent.
And then he ended up sticking another team in there. The one that's not very good. The one that you said is not very good. I didn't say they're not very good. They're not very good.
Yeah, they're there to give us something they're there to annoy us. That's what it is. Everyone needs somebody to annoy them, and that's what we've got.
We call them the bin dippers.
The which?
Bin dippers. That's what West Ham call them, bin dippers. We're not allowed to sing that song to them anymore because it's not politically correct.
No. We call them gobshites.
What song was that? We've got our own rivalries. Obviously there's a lot of clubs in London, and whether it's a Millwall or an Arsenal or Spurs.
Do you think there's too many clubs in London?
Guys, what do you think?
There are a lot of clubs in London.
Yeah.
A lot of clubs in London.
The grounds are full though, Tommy, at the moment, which we'll come back to when, on your stadium move. Like, hopefully you keep your proper fans, unlike what's happened to us. We had crowds of 19, 20,000. I was said to Andy the other day that the season before we left Upton Park, you could go over there and get a ticket. Just walk over and get a ticket for any game. And now, like, where's these 65,000 fans come from?
Yeah.
They're not. They're fans. They're not supporters. So I'm going to touch on a manager that we both had in common for his good things and not so good things. But I know Tommy Moyes had a stint with you guys first.
Yeah.
And he was at Everton for quite a while.
Yeah, the first stint he did with us was he done brilliant for Everton. He made us a top 10 into Europe team. And he stabilised us after some really bad managers before him, and then unfortunately he was headhunted by Man United. And if only it is stopped and thought, whoever takes over from Ferguson is going to fail. No matter what they do, they were going to fail. Yeah. And I think his head was just turned by having a chance to manage Man United. I think that's why people really didn't want him back the second time now, because they still felt he betrayed them. But you're getting called by Man United, you're going to go, aren't you, at the time?
When Ferguson's choice. Sorry? When Ferguson's choice to take over.
Yeah, apparently Moyes has done an interview recently saying he got a phone call of Ferguson and said, Ferguson said to him, "You're the next manager." And it hadn't even been released. And it was Ferguson who spoke to him and said, "You're the next manager in Man United." I don't blame him for turning that down, but he was building something at the time at Goodison at Everton. We'd recently been into Europe and we got knocked out by some dodgy refereeing decisions when Duncan Ferguson scored in the last minute and the referee disallowed it. But then he left. And now he's come back and he's actually done wonders for Everton. Basically, all he's told them to do is attack, whereas Dyche just wanted us to draw every game. Dyche was holding us back. We had so many attacking players who were playing awful because these players don't know how to defend. They're attackers. They're attacking players. And he's getting them to defend and maybe hit a team on the break. And it just wasn't working. And I truly believe if Dyche was there, we wouldn't have won the 13 points on the Moyes that we've won so far. We'd have been right in the relegation. But Moyes come in, we lost the first game against Villa, and we've won 3 on them, then we drew 1 and we won another one. So he's turned us round. I just hope he gets the backing now of the new owners. But once we're safe and we're going to go to the Bramley-Moore Dock, then they back him.
What contract has he got, Tommy? Has he got? Sorry, Tommy. If he keeps you up, has he got a contract that goes into 2 years, or has he already got a 2-year contract?
No, I think he's only got a short-term contract, and I think they're going to look at it if they keep us up. But who else would you go for? If you go for a foreign manager, and how many foreign managers are at the moment are failing in the Premier League? Yeah. So you've got Moyes, who's been in the Premier League. He knows what it's about. He knows what the club is about. he gets the feeling about Everton. He's part of it. So I think that's why the players have bought into him so quickly. Moyes has got the passion for Everton Football Club. So I think he'll get the chance to take us into Bramley-Moore. I'm sure of that. I think he'll get another 2 years and give him a chance to build something, because the players over the last couple of games have showed they're not the best players. They're not bad players, but they're not the best players that we could have at Goodison. And I think Moyes knows that. And the next transfer window, I think you'll see some big buys for Everton.
Sonny, Tommy, like when he first come in, when Bilic went and he did 6 months, he did okay. He kept us up. He really only got the same amount of points as what Bilic had already got to start the season. He got the exact same amount and kept us up. But then they added him, and they brought Pellegrini in, and then he come back again. And he actually didn't play bad football with the COVID situation, because we had a lot of toxicity with the owners before then. There was quite a lot of trouble around the ground. And he didn't play too bad. But the longer he's there, which I hope it isn't for you, he won't be bringing no youth through. I think he's fallen into a team. I do believe that if Calvin Llewellyn was fit, he'd be playing instead of the other guy. The other guy who's up front, the big black guy. He suddenly, he was useless at one point, weren't he? But all of a sudden, his boots are on fire and he's scoring goals. But he wouldn't play him. And your problem is going to be, at West Ham, I know like we had problems with Steiden when he come in. But the last transfer window, he was there. He wanted one player. Yeah. And that player was Calvin Phillips. And it had been shown. Some players, I don't know what it is. Do you know what I mean? Certain players can play for certain managers, can't they? Yeah. And they can't play for other managers. And for whatever reason, when Bielsa was at Leeds, when they all run round at 900 mile an hour, he looked a real good player, didn't he? Calvin Phillips. He was a starter for England. But then when he went to Man City, Guardiola just knew he wasn't a good football player. And mate, when he come to us, I know he was a bit unlucky. He got sent off. He gave a penalty in his first game, but he was hopeless. And now he's one of the biggest earners at Ipswich. I think he is the biggest earner down there at Ipswich by a long way. But I think there's your problem. I think, if he doesn't, he won't bring the youth through. We've said this before, managers have got a shelf life around about 2 years, and he will obviously want to stay, especially going into a new ground, which, by the way, my friend, I wish you all the best. Yeah, and we will come back to it. I hope it's filled with Everton fans, and there's suddenly not loads more corporate packages are available for non-Everton fans, which I hope isn't the which happens where we are.
Well, just 2 points on that. The forward we got the moment, Beto, I think Moyes has realised he'll never create your chances, but he can take chances. He'll score a goal if you give him the right, supply. Whereas Calvin Lewin, at the moment, he couldn't take a chance. He just really can't. Whether that was, again, Dice has had such damaged his confidence so much that he's not the player he was. But I've never really rated Calvin Lewin as a top striker. He gets injured too much. He misses many chances one-on-ones with the keeper. Whereas you've seen over the last couple of games, Beto's one-on-one with the keeper and he scores. And that's all you want with a striker. If you're going to have a hold-up player like Calvin Lewin is, then you need somebody running off him. Now, Dyche wouldn't do that. He only played one up front. So Calvin Lewin was isolated on his own. And then you take Calvin Lewin off and put Beto in the same position, holding up, but there was no one there to pass the ball onto or flicker onto. Whereas Moyes has turned around and said, well, we're going to give you the feed that you need and we'll pass the ball along the depth here. And he scored it. We saw it the other night, a great ball. And he scored. He scored against that other team from across the park. A great ball again from a free kick.
What was that? What was that like, Tommy? What? Because you was at that game. What was that game like when you drew at the end? Because the crowd went crazy at Goodison.
Well, it was wonderful to beat Liverpool 2-2. It was fantastic. It was a fantastic win.
It was a great win. Yeah, I agree.
And there's been a lot of banter going on up in Liverpool, and I think the Liverpool fans get it because we didn't want the Liverpool fans to be able to turn around and say, we won more derbies at Goodison Park than you, because it ended up 41 each and 38, I think it was 38 draws, 41 wins each team. But Liverpool have done that so much to us, scoring in the last minute, that I haven't seen celebrations like that at Goodison since we beat Bayern Munich in the European Cup Winners' Cup semi-final. I don't forget the year. Anyway, but the
85,
place
85. Was it 85 or 84? Yeah.
I think it was 84.
You beat Leipzig in the final, didn't you?
Yeah. No, Rapid Vienna we beat in the final.
Rapid Vienna, that was it.
Yeah.
3-1, weren't it?
Yeah. It was Trevor Stevens scored. It was fantastic.
Andy Gray and Kevin Sheedy.
Kevin Sheedy, yeah.
And Gray, Andy Gray.
Andy Gray scored, yeah. See, you just mentioned another two players that I didn't mention earlier on, Kevin Sheedy and Andy Gray. And then you had the Corey, who ran up to the Liverpool fans to celebrate, and they took exception to it. I don't know why. We've in the past had Steven Gerrard running down the length of the pitch, celebrating in front of the Everton fans. If you look 2 seasons ago, Klopp ran on the pitch at Anfield to celebrate a derby win. We didn't take offence to that. We just walked out. They just need to grow up and accept it.
They need to learn how to lose, Tommy, a bit like Arsenal. You don't always win just because you're a so-called big club. Win graciously and lose with humility. Yeah.
But unfortunately, they don't know how to do that.
No. Just touching back on the manager part, though, again, about Moyes, one great acquisition you've done as well, from my point of view, is Alan Irvine, who I understand is one of the backroom staff. When Alan was at West Ham, along with Moyes, we weren't a bad team.
No.
But then Alan family lived up north, and he wanted to leave. And when he left, for us, Moyes went
Pearce as well, didn't we?
Yeah, and Stuart Pearce, he just went. He just started pissing off the assistant managers.
Mark
so I'm surprised.
Who was the other bloke? Who was the other manager
Mark
who come down for a while?
Mark Warburton.
Warburton went as well, didn't he?
Moyes lost all his backroom staff, basically, didn't he?
Yeah. But Alan Irvine, good assistant manager.
Yeah. Well, you've got Coleman. He's James Coleman. He stepped him up, and Bainesy. He's made Bainesy step up as well. So he's got the heart of the club, the backbone, the coaching staff, which Dice just one of the things that used to do my head in with. If you watch Dice on the touchline, he'd just go like that with his hands. And then he talked to Stone, the assistant coach, and he was talking to him. Who would want to follow his tactics? Who would want to know what Dice is saying and run it up his tactics? We were third from bottom, and he's covering his mouth up. Everyone must be saying, you can say whatever you want. We're not interested. We're not going to do it.
Right. That is mental. That is mental. You just describing that, and we had the opposite. We had Moyes on our. At the end, he had to go from West Ham because he'd expired. You can see the stress on him. He was running out of ideas. He couldn't get the team. Nearly 2 seasons.
The trouble we had was after the initial, the second stint, after COVID and whatever, after about 18 months, he just started turning all attackers into defenders.
Yeah.
That's all he wanted to do, much like what Dyche done at Everton. That's all Moyes wanted to do was defend. But
Moyes looks younger now, doesn't he, at Everton? He looks fresher. He looks like he's refreshed.
And he's dyed his hair like Mrs. Slocum. He's dyed his hair as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone blonde, hasn't he?
We should sing the song too. But he does. He looks more relaxed. He just knows this is where I want to be. This is my home. Where it all started. I mean, Moyes, when he first signed for Everton, he said he was driving down the motorway into Liverpool, and all he could see was blue shirts, blue football shirt. He said, I never saw any of the other lot. And at the press conference, he made the iconic statement, I've joined the People's Club.
Yeah.
And what he was saying is like, you know, the people of Liverpool support Everton. And we wind the rednecks up saying, if the airports are shut, Anfield's empty, he's all come from Norway. But Moyes summed it up then, Moyes, when he called us the People's Club, and we still celebrate that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was what you had a lovely ground at Goodison. It was good to go there. It was close to the pitch, wasn't it? We've said it before, like the West Ham pitch. It was really great atmosphere. People used to say to me, you're going to be shocked at the noise when you get to Liverpool, but I always thought it was a better atmosphere at Everton.
Yeah. Well, when I started going to Goodison, I started watching in Gladys Street, and halfway up the bank of the Gladys Street, there was a big step, and all the kids used to stand on the step in front of the bars so you didn't get crushed. And then, you know, you move up, you go from there, you go into the stands, and you appreciate the atmosphere that Goodison generates, because you do see players actually wilt under the noise at Goodison. You know, you get great players suddenly can't pass it 2 yards because the fans are right on top of them, and they can hear everything the fans are saying.
Yeah, that's like it was Upton Park. And I'm glad we move on to stadiums now, and this is what we're hoping. We like Everton. West Ham like Everton as a football club. You're a family club. You're a supporters club. You're a working class club.
Yeah.
We had our heart ripped out, and they call it progression. But when we moved from Upton Park to London Stadium, oh my gosh! And I went there last weekend to watch Brentford. It was bad. It was bad. You could hear it was just silent. There was nothing. There's no atmosphere at all, and we don't know where to go from here. But when we had this, we had a good friend of ours.
There's only one way to go, Tony. Knock it down.
Knock it down. It's like London Bridge, isn't it? Build it back up again, Duggy.
Serious, mate. Not a football
stadium,
stadium.
actually. Yeah. But we had Andy Payne on the other day, who's part of the team who runs one of our supporters group, and he spoke to the architect who designed your new stadium.
Right.
And it's on our previous show, and he's an Evertonian, and isn't that right? An Evertonian should be designing the stadium, in my opinion. And he said that he felt sorry for the West Ham fans because we haven't got a football stadium. We got athletics, running track, whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but it's shit one way or another. And have you been to the new stadium? Have you been to the new Everton
I haven't been there yet because they had a trial event last Tuesday where 10,000 fans could get in. And there's another one coming up where it's going to be 25,000 fans allowed in. But I'm not going. I want to go there and see it in the full pomp when it's full. Yeah, when it's full.
What's the capacity of the new ground?
The new one's
53,000.
52,000. Yeah.
52,808. But what they've done, Tommy, they've left room for it to get to make it bigger if the government says standing's going to be allowed, because they're going to do one seat to one standing, which I think is a great idea.
Well, that's the only way they can increase the capacity is by if it becomes standing. Because I read somewhere that the architect who done it has said we can't add to the stadium, we can't make the stands bigger. He said because you've got to alter everything inside the stands, like the doorways and everything else safety-wise has got to be altered. He said we can't alter the stands, but if they made it standing capacity areas, then you would be able to increase it then. But one of the things I'm looking forward to seeing is this behind the goal. The big wall, they've called it. It's got the steepest stand in Europe now.
Oh,
that's awesome. If you have a look at the YouTube, the stand was open. You could see it, and there's all people's videos on it, and you're looking down, and it looks enormous. It looks fantastic. The atmosphere.
A lot of the Spanish stadiums are like that, Tommy. Very steep.
Yeah.
So as you all get a good view, they're great big stone steps. Do you know what I mean? You have to go. We've got a guy who's coming down to meet me tomorrow, funny enough, and it's cheaper for him to fly over to Spain. He's got a place at Gran Alicante, and he goes to Elche. He's a season ticket holder now. And then it's cheaper to get a plane here. He flew this morning. The game's on Sunday. He's coming down to meet tomorrow, and then cheaper to fly back. But we're going to get him on about all the atmospheres, because he said he went to Valencia a few weeks ago. It was an amazing ground. He said he loved it up there.
I can't wait to see that stadium full, the atmosphere, because the architect said one of the main things at Goodison Park is the fans are right on touching the pitch, basically, and he wants to keep that. And he has done. If you look at it, it's dead close to the pitch. And it's,
what's
it's
the infrastructure like, Tommy? Is it going to? I mean, I hope it's not like what I'm saying is, you know, our shithole, like where we are. You got to walk through a shopping centre to get there. You know what I mean? And push by all the old girls with their trolleys. Are they going to have all shops and bars around it? Is it going to be the same, or are you going to have different entrances? Have you got good transport links?
The transport at the moment is a scandal. It's absolutely a mess. The trial event, there was only 10,000 fans there, and there was trouble in the train station, Sandhills, the local train station, Sandhills. They just couldn't cope. So there's an inquiry going on there of how they're going to make it better. They had shuttle buses running from the Pierhead, the city centre, to the Bramley-Moore. And the council at the moment are taking a lot of stick, because there's a lot of bars not so far away from Bramley-Moore. I was down there the other day, and the actual area is there's a lot of private housing estates by it, but the actual main road it's on is really run down. It's really run down area where they are. But there's towards the city centre, there's a lot of pubs and bars. So around most stadiums, there's very limited parking on match days, right? So the council enforced no parking zone on match days. What Liverpool City Council have done, in their wisdom, have imposed a 365-day no parking zone. It's enormous. You need to get on YouTube and have a look at it. It's absolutely horrendous. And this goes from Bramley-Moore right up by where Goodison is now. You can't park, you'll get fined. It's terrible. So there's petitions going on now trying to get that changed. Because the bars at the moment where in the city centre, some people are leaving the employment because they're saying, I can't park now. The club doesn't finish till 1 o'clock. It's a young girl coming out who's serving behind the bar, and they wanted to walk through the city centre at 1 o'clock in the morning to get transport, whereas normally they park outside and they can drive home safely. So that's a big concern at the moment.
Yeah, can be fixed though. You know,
this is what the trial events are all about. The trial events are all about find out the problems, what they are, and solve them before 50,000 turn up. But they need to get their acts together. Liverpool City Council need to get their acts together.
Yeah, that's like most councils.
What do you think of the new owner, Tommy? Dan Friedman, eh?
Well, I think you've got to give him time. He's just bought the club. You've got to. He's stabilising it. He's not making ripples. Give him time and let's see him put money in and into transfer market. Because at the moment, we've heard very little of them actually, because they were going to buy Everton and then they backed out, and then somebody else was going to buy us a group called 7-7, and we dodged the bullet with that lot. Yeah, and then these came back in to buy us. Luckily, they bought us, and hopefully, you know, they've got plenty of money to spend, because we do need the spending on the team. But they're very crafty, aren't they? They bought it.
He paid the debt off, Tommy, with another. He's remortgaged the debt, isn't he? He's paid the debt off and he's remortgaged it, so they're paying it back on a less interest rate, aren't they?
Yeah, he's wiped the debts off completely. Everton aren't in debt no more. He's wiped that off completely, but he'll get that back. But what a shrewd businessman he's been. He's bought one of the oldest English football clubs, who's going to go into a brand new state-of-the-art stadium, where I think it's the European Championships, when they're held, has already been selected as a ground. So they're going to play a game there. So it's going to be.
And Tommy, they didn't pick the other stadium, did they? The one across the other side. They didn't.
No. See, and again, Goodison developed some, World Cup matches.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cowshed over the road, the inner city stadium, because that's what it is now. It's an inner city backstreet stadium, whereas ours is a state of the art. I mean, everyone who went there the other night was blown away from it, and that's the media as well. The media said it's out of this world. I went down there to look at it, and it does look fantastic. I can't wait to get inside and have a look around it.
And the first game will be next season, I'm assuming.
Yes.
The fish, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So
and
you have to.
I do hope the Premier League, when the fixtures come out, go right. It's the first game. Let's have a top team against Everton.
Maybe West Ham will come up and play against you then.
Yeah. But you know what I mean, to make it really special.
No, I hear you.
Great. I mean,
imagine the first game is Everton.
I'll tell you, if Sky or the Premier League get their way, the first game will be Everton and the Red Lot from the other side. They will say that is the definitive game. That'll be the top of the game.
Well,
they'll probably do it on a Monday night or something, or at tea time, 6 o'clock midweek. Tommy, was you there in 1980? Let me ask you about Ellen Road, 1980 FA Cup replay. Was you there?
Yes. It was Ellen Road. I was there. My Alpha drove us down. And I remember it because we parked on a bank off the motorway. And some of the lads said there was a really big queue to get back onto the motorway, going the proper way. But some of the lads jumped out the van and took a fence down. And we drove straight onto the slip road and on our way home.
So just to moving on, I mean, that's great news. We're really pleased that you're at least you got a
good luck, Tommy, with the ground.
Not a running. We wish you all the best for that.
Really
we'd love to hear back from you when you've had your first game there.
No problem.
Some videos would be nice, Tommy, when you get in there as well. Send them to Tommy if you don't mind.
No problem. We'll sort that.
Me and you spoke briefly. We texted about the concession side. So your tickets. Yeah. So obviously I mentioned to you early on that at West Ham, the concessions is a really touchy subject. The owners believe that they've still got it fair. They've still got reduced tickets for the elderly and the young future fans, but they have to sit right at the top where you need binoculars. But for you guys, when you move into a new stadium, is this concession still available?
There's concessions, yeah. I've got my ticket. I've been a season ticket at Goodison for 43 years, but the way they did it was you'd done a tablet, a scale of 23 years and over. You got first choice. So once all the corporate tickets were sold and all that, then you could pick your seat. So my brother, who's obviously a lot older than me, but I got the looks. He got concession. He got a concession. So I paid £1,200 for Bramley-Moore, and his is sitting right next to me. Is £900. So it's £300 concession. But obviously he's 70 odd. So there is concessions at Bramley-Moore. But I haven't heard anything at Bramley-Moore happening to what you've said about West Ham, where they move people off the seats to go and sit at the back. That's disgusting, that.
That's what they say. If you want cheap seats, you've got to go and sit right at the top at the back. And it doesn't matter how old you are, young, old, whether you're disabled or anything, you've got to go and sit right at the top of the stairs, right at the back.
No, see, even at Goodison Park, as you go up into the stands, you know, you've seen the main stand on the telly. There's a lot of pillars.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a concession if you're stuck behind the pillar. Obviously, the seat's cheaper, but it doesn't matter if you're sitting at the front of the stand or at the back. You pay the same. But to turn around and say you're sitting right at the back and they're the cheap seats, that belongs to a bygone age, I think.
Yeah.
They split everybody up as well, Tommy. When people sat together at Upton Park and families, they didn't even put the families together when they moved to the new ground.
Split them all around the ground. Yeah.
There was loads. When it first opened, there was loads of fights because different people were sitting near other people. It was really quite bad when it first opened.
Well, what they did at Everton for the allocation at Bramley-Moore, if you were like so, me and my brother, we've been there 40 years. So, but we sat apart because I can't stand them. We always argue. So this time he said, right, so what you could do, you could go in and buy a seat, but I had to give him my customer number for my season ticket, and he could get the seat next to him. Right. So what he did was, if you're sitting next to somebody who'd only been there for 15 years and you've been there for 23, you could start buying your ticket like the 2nd of January, 3rd of January, but they would have to wait until May or June. So for you to sit next to them, you'd have to drop down and wait till June. So you'll get less of a choice. I think what they could have done was turn around and said to the fans, we'll offer you a seat similar to where you're sitting now in the ground. So if you're sitting behind the goal, you get a seat similar to where you're sitting behind the goal. Absolutely. At the ground. That's something they could have looked at, but it was just a bit of a lottery because obviously if you go to match on your own, there's guys buying a seat in the middle of a row. If there's only 7 seats left, this guy buys a seat right in the middle of that 7. And then there's a group of 7 or a group of 6 want to sit together, but they're going to have this person sitting in front of them. And you can't blame the person because he wants the best seat available for him. He's not thinking about these other 6 people. So there's always a wrong way and a right way of doing things.
Yeah. No, we hear you. So no, thank you. It was really good. It's good to get insight. Like I said, we wish you guys the best of luck. But I'm going to just sort of, because coming to the end of the show, I just want to touch on something that we covered on our last show. So, and it's to do with all these concessions, and it's to do with the stadium, and it's to do with football supporters. It's not to do with fans, because fans are different to football supporters, you know, as such. And we, on our last show, we had Hammers United on, and who's what are they, Duggy? Because my mind's gone, or Stuart. They're a support group for our club, and Everton's got their own, and the other lot of Park have got their own, and so on. I think theirs is called the Spirit of Shankly. Their group, and so they've been there's a petition going around. They've been protesting, but peacefully and sensibly.
Yeah.
Save our concessions and so on.
I don't know if you noticed that all the away games, at West Ham away games, wherever we go, there's always a load of black balloons, and that's what the away fans are releasing. Save our concessions.
Oh, right.
We can't do it at home. If we do anything like that at the London Stadium, we get thrown out.
Yeah.
When we go to London Stadium, it's like going to the airport. You have to go in, you have to take off your belt and your shoes, and they want you and everything.
Yeah. Can't have a top on a bottle of drink. The top thing.
They used to do that at Goodison. They used to take the tops off the Coke at Goodison until they realised when you threw it, the water coming out just isn't it better. You get the top back.
So, Tommy, I've got a question for you, my friend. Sorry, before you go. If you could have any West Ham player to take up to Everton, who would you take?
Present.
Yeah, present.
The tall midfielder, Shorrock, is it?
Suchek,
Yes.
you can have him.
Duggy was
You're
right.
grab him.
He's yours. He's
Oh,
yours.
you can have him.
I think he was great last season, wasn't he? He was scoring goals for you. He was getting on the end of crosses. And I think he's just lost confidence, no matter what's gone wrong with him.
Yeah,
I think he's a great midfielder.
I don't like to say it, but he got Moyes. I'd like Tarkowski from your team if we could have him. We need a centre back, someone to sort us out big time. I'll tell you what I would like out of your old team, Kevin Ratcliffe. And he was a good captain, weren't he? Ratcliffe.
Oh, he was great, Ratcliffe. His strength was his speed. Unfortunately, he got injured and he lost that vital half a yard later on. But he
won 7
captain.
trophies with him as the captain.
Yeah, he was a great captain. Him and Derek Mountfield.
Yeah. You had Stephen at the back and Pat Van Den Al on the other side, didn't you?
Psycho Pat, yeah. It was
we both
an unbelievable team. That was an absolute unbelievable team. Because you had Bracewell, Trevor Stephen, Peter Reid.
Who was up front? It was Sharp and Gray, weren't it?
Originally, it was Sharp and Adrian Heath.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Adrian Heath got picked for England, selected for England, and the very next game, I think it was a Sheffield United or Sheffield Wednesday fella had done his knee, and he was out for the season. All the Evertonians were, that's our challenge for the league gone. And then Andy Gray signed for us, and he was brilliant for us, Andy Gray.
Yeah, you won the league, didn't you? But you didn't get into the European Cup because of ISIL, didn't you? Because of the trouble with ISIL, all the English clubs got banned, didn't they? You was the last club to win a European trophy in '85, the Cup winners, until '91 when Man United, because that was when English clubs were allowed back into Europe. I think Liverpool had another 2-year ban after the 5 years, didn't they?
I think it was just 5 years, wasn't it? We all got banned for 5 years.
They definitely got a longer ban. It was British clubs was 5 years, but Liverpool got a longer ban because they was involved with Juventus, weren't they, at ISIL?
That's right. It was a terrible, terrible time.
But that stopped you going in the European Cup.
Unfortunately, it did. And at the time, we were the best team in Europe. But, you know, we don't talk about that much. It was just a terrible event. It really was.
Yeah.
So just touching back on, just going back to Hammers United, and as we mentioned, we call it support the supporters. So we're West Ham supporters right now. We're calling out to all football fans, whether you're an Evertonian, the other red lot across the park, you could be Man United, Leeds, Scunthorpe United, whatever. And I'm going to share this link in our description. Yeah. So we would ask the fans out there if they could just sign our petition and join up. And it's just to oppose season ticket price rises and changes to concessions. Now, this is West Ham.
Yeah.
But if they're successful at West Ham, it's only a matter of time before they get to other clubs. And this happens to other clubs. So we as supporters of working class game and football across the UK, we have to support one another. So we ask all football fans to jump on. Like I said, the link will be in the description if you can just fill it in. There's one very important caveat though. Once you don't have there's a donation thing, you don't need to donate. But once you fill your email address and press go, you then have to go back into your email address because you'll receive an email and you just have to confirm to validate that this vote. So don't forget. But otherwise, we certainly appreciate the support from all the other clubs.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing because clubs have got to realise enough's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll be outside the ground, Tommy. When they go to away games, they stand outside the grounds with other teams as well. Yeah. So hopefully when it's open next season and they're up there, you'll see them outside anyway. It's all peaceful protests, always. Tommy, good luck, my friend, with the rest of the season. And if you can, send us some videos of the first game next year.
I will do, guys. No problem.
And it's been a pleasure having.
Yes, yeah. Oh, look, somebody's frozen for a change. Look, he's frozen.
Best bit, that is. That's the best bit of the show because he always moans about my internet.
Yeah.
So, is there any last comments? Oh, my screen just went a bit funny then. Lost signal. But we're good?
Yeah.
Do you want to... Right, okay. Right, well, Stuart, do you just want to sign us out?
Will do, my friend. Take care, stay safe, and stay lucky, my friends. Come on,
All the best. Thanks, guys.